You are not too old to create something amazing. And you're also not too young to tell a meaningful story, to create a piece of art, to learn how to play a musical instrument. Whether you're old or whether you're young and you feel like you're not in that sweet spot, that you might actually be better situated than you think you are. I think in Western society, we often create this paradigm where we sort of overvalue the youth and then we undervalue the elderly, and we sort of put these time limits on things of, you need to pursue this thing before you're 40, or you need to make your first film before you turn 30. And at times they seem often arbitrary, because the truth is there are pros and cons to either part of life, whether you are in your later years in life or in your more youthful years in life. I think often, especially when we're younger, we get sort of allured into the trap of aesthetics, style over substance. You know, in the YouTube filmmaking world, there's just this obsession with cinematography. If you're older, you might be overwhelmed by all the technology. You might think, I can never learn cinematography or whatever to make my videos, films, art, what have you, look that good. And if you're younger, you might be overwhelmed by the storytelling. You might think, I don't know anything about that. I don't know how to write an outline, never mind tell a good story. And obviously these are generalizations, so I don't want you to get too hung up on the specifics of age. As gear becomes more and more democratized and accessible and innovative across the board with LED lighting, cheap lenses, amazing power grades that make your videos look like film, every once in a while you have some outliers saying, throw all that out, focus on your voice, focus on storytelling. And you might hear that though and think, whether you're old or young, well, what does that mean? What does it mean to hone my voice? What does it mean to tell a good story? So here's where I think being older actually gives you somewhat of an advantage as a storyteller. I think that when it comes to honing your voice and having a point of view, whether in art, storytelling, what have you, the greatest value is in specificity. Specificity in your memory, specificity in feelings, specificity in relationships, in experiences, in places you've been, in people you've met, in hardships or struggles that you have had. Often we work jobs that we hate. We have relationships that are painful. We go through experiences that are devastating. And we think, why? Why did this happen? And I'm not saying that these things are fuel for art or that they should be treated as something to be celebrated just because now you have a specific way to tell a story. But I think when you're older, you have so many of these experiences and you can then take them and draw from them, and you have the perspective to understand why those things happened, why you went through those struggles, why you went through those challenges, why you met those people. You can then project your outlook back out into the world, and how you interpret those things, what your point of view is on those specific experiences in your life is your voice. Don't you want something with universal appeal? Don't you want something that everyone can relate to? But I think actually the more specific it is, the more relatable it is, because it feels real and it feels truthful. I'll give you an example. When I was fresh out of college, my dream then and still is to make feature films. And so I had written some screenplays, and the issue with all those screenplays was they were kind of just knockoffs of, you know, say Inception or 500 Days of Summer. They didn't often have a personal element that I could relate to. You know, maybe the character had lost their wife or something like that. Well, I don't know anything about that. And I'm not saying that you can't infuse these elements secondhand or without experiencing them yourself, but I think that that specificity brings sort of a truthfulness. And then I think as I get older, they got more personal. If I wrote a dad character, I actually knew what it felt like to be a dad. I knew the stakes of that and sort of the primal nature of taking care of your children and your wife at all costs. That is sort of this universal feeling that parents around the world can relate to, but it feels real and it feels truthful and it feels specific. But my point here is, if you feel old and you feel like you've sort of missed your window to create something, maybe it's your first film or your first novel, just know that actually you've been through these valuable experiences that inform your art in a way that will feel even more truthful and even more real, because it's not secondhand, it's firsthand. And of course, there's generalization here. If you're young, you might also have a whole lifetime of experiences that bring a lot of specific value to the stories that you're telling, or the films that you're making, or the art that you're creating. But I think something extremely valuable that you have that someone who's older doesn't have is a freshness of those experiences, of those memories. Only you know what it feels like to be in high school in 2024. Only you know what it feels like to be fresh into the job market right out of college, and to feel how scary and stressful that is in 2024. Only you know what it feels like to have your first girlfriend, or go on your first date, or truthfully, what it feels like to be a teenager right now. When we're older, we remember, but we don't always remember the specific feelings. We don't always remember how painful it can feel. We don't always remember how it felt to be very misunderstood. We sort of look at everything through the lens of being older and being like, well, I didn't know what I was talking about then. I was just a teenager or whatever. But I think that when you're going through these things now, when you're young now, there is a specificity that you can bring to your current experiences and your current emotions, and there's a freshness that you can bring to art and to storytelling. And I think that there's a lot of value in that. I'm not saying that there's not value in aesthetics and learning the best cinematography, learning style, but I think that you can have an upper hand if you learn substance over style. Pretty is pretty. It will always get us to click, but I think what keeps us lingering is that substance. Whether you're old or whether you're young, hone in on what is the point of view that only you have and only you can bring to a story or to a piece of art. What are the experiences that only you have? What are the specific kinds of relationships that only you have had, the memories that only you have had? And they don't need to be word for word, verbatim. You know, when it comes to write what you know, your voice, your storytelling, your art doesn't need to be literally a portrait of your life and your experiences through your life. But I think that those truthful and specific experiences can inform that which you are creating, and it can inform it in a truthful way. And by the way, just because you love it and you're passionate about it doesn't mean you're gonna get paid for it. But hopefully you pursue art, hopefully you pursue filmmaking, storytelling, because you love it. You love the process. Maybe you love the aesthetics. Maybe you are born to be a cinematographer. I would challenge you then, how do I use cinematography to tell a story rather than just what looks cool? And I'm guilty of this myself. I hope the piece of this that is helpful to everyone is to be introspective, look at yourself, and look at, who am I? Who am I in this world? What are the unique things that I bring? Because every single one of you is so, so unique. And I think that if you can identify those things and find a way to artfully infuse them into your art, your films, even your YouTube videos, I think we are all going to benefit from it, because we're not going to see a million copies of the same things. We're going to see unique personalities, unique stories, and unique experiences that we could never comprehend. And frankly, no AI algorithm could ever comprehend either. You're not too old to create something amazing, and you're not too young. So start creating. Okay, so if you know me, you know that I hate selling stuff. I do product reviews on this channel, but I absolutely hate the idea of anyone thinking that they need to buy something just because I'm reviewing it. However, if you watch my videos, you probably notice that the music is just top notch. I cannot live without Artlist.com. I have used Artlist for years, and I've recently become an affiliate. If you are on the search for high quality music, it is an absolute no-brainer. Artlist.com. It's $120 for a year, or $15 a month if you want to do month to month. But if you use my link in the description, you can get 2 months free, and it helps to support me and this channel through my affiliate link. Artlist, one client project, it pays for itself. Cannot recommend it enough. I use it literally every day. Download dozens of songs a week. It is worth its weight in gold. So if you're looking for high quality music at truly an affordable rate, artlist.com. Get 2 months free using the link below.